This is a map of Australia, and this year I'm going to do my most ridiculous dream, visiting every single rental go-karting track in Australia within 1 year and making weekly YouTube videos about every single one. How many tracks are there? 64. A stack of go-karting tracks. And if you don't know, Australia is kind of big. So much so that this is going to require over 10,000 kilometers of driving, 2 big boats, 3 flights across all 7 states, all to find the best parts of every single go-karting track and show you what you can learn at every single one. So here's the game plan. Number 1, visit every rental go-karting track across Australia. Number 2, race all of you guys at your home tracks. And number 3, show you the best ways to get fast in a kart and teach my girlfriend Chloe how not to do this. Welcome to the FNF Aus Tour. "64 tracks to conquer, and today we're going to tackle the very first one. Today we are going to Auscarts. Super grippy, very fast, and one thing that makes or breaks drivers: the banking. Now, I've coached hundreds of people to be fast in a kart.
Nice.
But can I actually do it myself? Walking into Auscarts, I'm looking around. I'm soaking in the atmosphere and I'm realizing I've only ever been to Auscarts once. And this is what happened last time. The leaderboard felt infinitely far away, but that was the goal, to get onto the leaderboard and beat my boy Charles Leclerc. All we needed was a 27.5. So we're about to roll out onto track for the first time. But I want to be fast, and you do too, right? So here are the things you need to know before you go out and mindlessly do laps. Here are the track stats for Auscarts. At Auscarts, we've got 12 corners, a 450 meter indoor track. They're using the Sodi SR5 go-karts, which are apparently 6.5 horsepower, but feel like at least 9. They're on a super grippy surface, 2 braking zones, and 2 corners with the banking. Now, Auscarts run 15-minute sessions, which means you get 30 laps per session. Auscarts is priced at $3.6 per minute, which is about middle of the road. The lap record is about a 26.9, and the time we need to beat is a 27.5. But we're not going to be able to do that unless we conquer the banking. So here we go, out onto track for the first time, and immediately we're hit with the first corner with the banking. And this is going to affect us in more ways than one. We've got this technical section in the middle of the lap before coming onto the straight. High-speed kink and across the line. And straight off the bat, this is an incredibly fun layout. You can carry so much speed through the banking, and the karts handle really nicely. You can just flick them in a bit through the middle sector and get that back rotating, and then setting up for the final hairpin onto the straight. And you can see in the first few laps here, we're learning the track, and look at the steering wheel and how much my hands are moving. There's lots of corrections and lots of steering inputs going on. And in an ideal world, to be really fast, you want the steering wheel to be nice and smooth. But this is happening because the tires are really cold. And because the tires are cold, we're sliding more, which is actually not such a bad thing at the start, because the more the tires slide, the more quickly they'll heat up. And then you'll see as the session continues, we start to slide less and less, and the steering gets more and more smooth. And it's right about here when I'm starting to get into a bit of a flow. So starting to improve this middle sector, coming out all the way to the right hand side for this part, and then just a little lift to get the back rotating, hooking up for that second apex. And really the key is trying to get that rotation but not sliding too much and scrubbing a bunch of speed. So even that lap, there was probably a little bit too much slide. But I can't help but start thinking, what will the times reflect? How far off the leaderboard will we be? And will we get even anywhere close? And there we go, session 1 done with a time of a 27.69. So only about 2 seconds off Charles Leclerc in the very first session. That's it, get me an F1 because we're about to dust Mr. Charles Leclerc. Or at least, that's what I thought. So we're halfway through the second session, feeling confident that I can do this, that we can conquer the Auscarts layout. As you can see, I'm not getting faster. In fact, the times are getting slower and slower and slower. But why? Why am I going backwards and losing all of this time? There are 2 key factors which come into play. The first of which is the banking, and the second is overdriving. Here you've got Timmy, and if Timmy isn't careful, Timmy can get carried away and start pushing too hard. They brake later and later and carry more speed through the corner. And this is called overdriving, because Timmy is trying to force the kart instead of working together with the kart. And the more you fight the kart, the slower your lap times will become. One of the easiest ways to tell if you're overdriving is if you keep making mistakes, if you're locking up, running wide, you're hitting barriers. These are all different signs that you're just pushing that little bit too hard. So if you want to get faster, then just try and bring that back a little bit, work on consistency, and you will see the times start to drop. Which leads into point number 2, the banking. And first, we need to understand, what does the banking actually do? Isn't it exactly the same as driving on normal flat road? Well, when you drive on the road, you may not have heard this, but there's this little thing called gravity. And gravity keeps Timmy sitting in his kart attached to the road. Now imagine that you pull one side of the road up. Gravity does not care. It is vibing. Gravity is pulling little Timmy towards the lowest point of the track. If we're turning to the left, then the banking helps the kart turn through the corner. And if the banking is helping you turn, it means that you can carry more speed through that corner. And this is the magic of banked corners. And now Timmy is super happy because the banking isn't the banking anymore, it's the banking. The banking isn't magical. You still need to be smooth and hit the banking at the right speed and let it carry you through the corner. Too fast, the kart will get unsettled and you'll scrub a bunch of speed off. Too slow, then you just lose time that you could be gaining by going that little bit faster. Unlike a normal corner, that threshold of what is too fast is probably higher than you expect. So you can go into it pushing a little harder than you normally would and carry a lot of speed. So armed with the knowledge of the banking, now it's time to hit the track again. And this time we're going to tone clicks down a little bit and try to settle in. And we've got a secret advantage. What's the secret advantage? One of the amazing Auscarts staff with a PB of 27.1 seconds. So here I just asked the staff for some tips and asked if one of them could come out onto track with me, with the sole goal to follow them and learn as much as I could from what they do on track. So here we're getting the tires warmed up and I'm just noticing, where am I getting bumped from behind? Where am I losing that time? Letting the staff through to watch exactly what they do. So So straight away, we're noticing that the staff is braking a bit earlier into the second banking, probably to set up for a better exit. And I'm storing that away in the back of my mind for the next lap, where I decide to send it down the inside, knowing that they're probably going to brake a bit earlier than me. We end up backing out of it, but it's these type of opportunities that you get from analyzing other people and what they do. Again, the staff braking a little bit earlier into turn 1. And here we're learning, we're taking that smoother line, using all of the track, really maximizing our exit. Into the technical middle section, seeing some alternate lines here as well. And we gain a little bit right at the start of this exit, but that little slide meant that we lose it in the mid phase. And here, without saying a single word, I do lap after lap after lap. And I'm not dropping away from the staff. In fact, I'm catching up, getting closer and closer. But before we get to that session, the mission of the FNF Aus Tour is to visit every single track in Australia and show you what you can learn from every single one to make you a better driver. But this just flat out wouldn't be possible without two key people. So I just want to take a moment to say a huge thanks. Now, the first is Draggy, who makes this absolutely awesome GPS lap timer for rental karting. Now, I'll talk more about this and how incredibly cool it is at the first outdoor track next week. If you care about getting faster in a kart, this is a seriously cool tool, so stay tuned for more info about this. And secondly, my mission with Fast Not Famous is to make the fundamentals of racing and the racing education side of things more accessible to you, irrespective of your wealth or fame, so that whoever you are, you can enjoy racing and you can become fast, not famous. Hugo and Seb, two absolute legends, have contributed to the Go-Karting Fundamentals course Scholarship Fund. If you don't know, I run an online rental go-karting coaching program called the Go-Karting Fundamentals course. And Hugo and Seb's contribution means that for two of you who come and race at one of the tracks on the Aus Tour, and two of you watching at home, you will receive a fully funded scholarship for the Go-Karting Fundamentals course. So it absolutely fills my heart with joy to be able to do this and take Fast Not Famous to the next level. So a massive thank you to Hugo and Seb, and a huge thank you to Draggy for making this all a little bit more possible. Now back to Auscarts, and in the kart I can feel the times coming down lap after lap. Nailing the first banking, getting the kart tucked in for the next, carrying heaps of speed into the middle sector, lifting off perfectly just to get that kart rotated, back for the second apex, boom, change of direction, setting up for the exit, nice and smooth, carrying all of that speed. But was it enough? Booyah! All of the fundamentals finally coming together for the one perfect lap. A 27.2, almost 2.5 tenths faster than Charles Leclerc, and good enough for P11 on the all-time leaderboard. Absolutely amazing. Alright, now I am here with Ryan, who works at Auscarts, and before we go, I'm just going to hand over to Ryan, and he can tell you a little bit about how you can come and race at Auscarts. So take it away, Ryan.
Alright, so here at Auscarts, we are located in Port Melbourne, which is 7 minutes from the Melbourne CBD. We've got a great indoor karting track that karts to go up to 55 k's per hour. It's a purpose-built racetrack. It's 450 metres long. It offers great overtaking opportunities. We offer a range of corporate events, teen parties, bucks and hens outings. And we've also got a great space for our unique product launches as well.
Cheers, Ryan. It was heaps of fun today. And yeah, definitely worth checking out Auscarts if you can. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.
So that's a wrap for Auscarts. An absolutely amazing track, and I had so much fun. But next week, we're headed to Stony Creek. And this was one of the most ridiculous experiences I have ever had. So hit subscribe and see you there.
Woohoo! This is crazy. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh, big lock up.